Now, before you guys say anything, let me just tell you that even though they technically don't Legion anymore, doesn't mean they still don't make a great duo. Hey guys, it's John here, doing my once a year Anli video, right? Yeah, that's how that works. Happy 2021, everybody. But no, seriously, how you guys doing? Been a while, and sorry I haven't been on the channel as regularly. Been kind of busy with life and stuff. But nevertheless, I am back for bringing you guys a deck profile. Specifically, I'm going to be bringing you guys the new Genesis profile for Yggdrasil and Himiko. So hopefully you guys enjoy the profile. I'm going to be explaining my reasonings, the things I do, and all that good stuff. And without any further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. So, starting out with the grade 3s, this is, of course, primarily a Himiko deck, so we're going to be playing 4 copies of Oracle Queen Himiko. Now, despite Genesis having a plethora of options now in the terms of Astral Poets and Fenrir of the like, and I'm talking about, of course, standard format, Himiko still is a really powerful card. Personally, I am a fan of Himiko. The fact that she's able to basically create 2 to 3 triggers, right? Trigger effects, depending on what your opponent is on in terms of grade. I just personally think that overall, it's still, in potential games, a complete blowout card. By turn 2 or turn 3, depending on the matchup, the momentum can be completely going into your favor, and because of that, Himiko, if you're right on her, just will make maybe 5 to 6 critical triggers, 4 critical triggers, worst case scenario, and completely swing the game into your favor. And to be honest, right, Vanguard nowadays is mostly like that, right? It's a very fast-paced, very hit-in-the-face heavy format at the moment. I mean, personally, that's how I view it, with Gergwid and with Luard and things like that. So when it comes to those, right, I feel as though Himiko is one of those decks that is kind of like a sleeper deck. People don't pay as much attention to it, and then when they do come across it, it just hits them in the face, and they're totally unprepared for it. So, yeah. 4 of her, super good card. So, to complement our Himiko, we are playing 4 copies of the new CEO Yggdrasil. Now, originally she was a Legion card for Genesis, but now she comes back as a quote-unquote Legion-esque card. So her ability is actually fairly simple in the fact that she provides boosts with all units that have a Divine Gauge, which is the quote-unquote mechanic that I guess Regalias have to create Divine Gauges and then having effects based on the Divine Gauges, but we really don't care about that. What we primarily care about is the fact that she has the ability to call Norn, and then Norn has the ability to restand her. So if you do this in combination with Himiko, give this Yggdrasil, say something like 4 or 5 critical triggers on top of 3 critical triggers, and on top of the fact that not only you're stacking your deck with Genesis abilities, but the fact that you are going to be going on something like Force 2 on your grade 3 ride means that this girl can swing in for potentially 5 damage with a restand happening. So if your opponent doesn't have the necessary resources to guard, you just completely blow them out of the water. So overall, I think it's a very good card. I play 4 of it. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the grade 2s. Of course, we have 4 of the Yggdrasil. So we're going to be having 4 of her partner. We have 4 copies of Norn. So Norn has a very unique ability, I guess. 2, in fact. So her first ability is Counterblast 1. You draw a card, and then you just choose rear guards, and then equip them with Divine Gauges. And then if you do so, you Soul Charge 2. You put the Divine Gauges from your soul face down onto the cards. And then if you do that, you Soul Charge 2. And then her other ability is the Restanding ability, is that if she boosts a Regalia unit, you can discard 1 card from your hand, and as well as a Divine Gauge, and then restand the unit in front of them, and they get drive -1 plus 10k. But if they're on rear guard, the drive really doesn't matter because it's just free attack. So again, we played this in terms of being able to stack a lot of crits onto our rear guard and then blow our opponent out of the water. Essentially what I call it is a shotgun Himiko. You load up a lot of triggers, or as many triggers as you can. Currently, I would say it's very complicated to do so because as of this recording, we technically don't have the one Genesis grade 1 promo that allows you to stack the top card of your look at the top 2 cards of your deck and stack 1 card on top. but we run cards to mitigate it at the current moment. And when that card does come out, I would personally say that that is a necessary 4 of. That can be debated, and of course, if you feel like that needs to be debated, put it in the comments below. But as of now, that does not mean that we still can't run the combo, and we can still successfully do the combo. So because of that, we run this card, we run the entire combo, and it's very powerful. Again, I personally feel like if your opponent is not expecting this, you will just completely surprise them. So next time you go to your locals, maybe give it a try. For the memes, I guess, but for me, I think it's super cool. All right, so next we're playing White Phosphorus Sorcerer, Revolutia, I think his name is, or her name. I think it's a he, though. Anyway, ability, one placed on rearguard circle, specifically counterblast 1, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you shove one of them into your hand and put the rest into your soul. Personally, I think it's a strong card because it allows you to quickly soul charge as well as grab a necessary resource that you have in your hand. It doesn't stack your deck, but it helps you filter through your deck faster. So the faster we can filter through our deck, the more optimized we can be in terms of swinging in for a big face. So yeah, for this guy. We are, of course, running, I personally feel like it's becoming more and more one of my favorite cards in all of Genesis, is Prometheus of the Dancing Lights. Very simple ability in the fact that he, on placed Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, he allows you to stack the top card of your deck and then shove one, look at the top 2, right? And then shove one card from among them into the soul. And then the other one goes on top of your deck. So you're both filling up your soul as well as stacking the cards up your deck. So, in my opinion, you can run it in so many ways. And why I love it is because, 1, it can either help you stack your deck faster in terms of your win condition. 2, if your deck is already set, if your soul is already set, rather, with the critical triggers necessary to have Himiko go off, this guy becomes essentially just a filter in terms of wanting to double crit or stack critical triggers on top of your deck in general. So that way you have like 3 crit on your Yggdrasil plus the Force 2. Then you swing in with your Vanguard and you go crit, and then there you go, 6 critical triggers just like that because you're, stacking your deck. Yeah, very strong card. I personally feel like he brings a lot to the table, but at the same time, there are probably other cards you can try running. I just feel like with the potential that Genesis has, he's a really good card to run. So yeah, 4 of him. Now, for my grade 1s, this is how I'm running it personally at the moment. Again, like I said previously, we don't have the promo at the time of this recording, but that doesn't mean that we can't run cards to help filter out the combo. Of course, this grade 1 slot is very flexible, and if you need to, you can obviously move some cards around, but this is the current combination that I found to be very successful in my testing. And yeah, here, let me just show it to you guys. So, we're going to start out with 4 copies of Supporter Sorceress, I think is Communis? I think that's his name. Very simple ability, 1 placed on Vanguard, you put a card from your hand into your soul and you draw a card. And then 1 placed on Rearguard, you soul charge 1. And then if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you soul charge again, and it gets 5k. So, really good card in terms of setup for the early game. This is ideally your grade 1 ride, especially if you have critical triggers in your opening hand like I always do. It's just how Vanguard works. But, again, also helps you draw a card, which is also really nice. And basically, on grade 3 ride, helps you soul charge 2. So when you're going in for the Himiko and you're trying to push for all the necessary combo pieces that you need, helps you get there fast and pumps up your Himiko. Ideally, you kind of want to, when you're on the Himiko Yggdrasil setup, you kind of want to have your Himiko actually swing to the side to a rearguard if they have it. That way, they're not necessarily having any counterblast plays to rebuttal, just in case the Himiko doesn't go off. But again, it's completely up to you. Moving on. For our second grade 2, we run 4 copies of Hati. Very simple card. On place, Vanguard or Rear, Soul Charge 2, and then if you Soul Blast, it gets plus 5k if you Soul Blasted that turn. So, necessary card to run? Not really, but I would say once we do get the promo, this is the card that would most likely go out of the deck, only because they kind of both hand in hand do the same thing. This just helps your soul fill faster for your win condition, and then at the same time, so does the other card, but the other card can legally stack your deck to help you get to your win condition faster. So, good card for now, but once the promo comes out, I'm personally going to swap them out. Moving on. We run 3 copies of Mythic Beast Skull, the grade 3 searcher for Genesis. Very generic grade 3 search ability for the V searchers, and then the other ability is when Soul Blasted, it gets plus 5k, so very much like Hati. Super good card. I actually might run 4 of it, considering it, because it helps you look for Himiko and it helps you look for Yggdrasil, which are both your win conditions. So it is a super good card to run. However, as the list currently stands, I'm okay with running it at 3, just simply because the next card that I run, I kind of value a lot more in terms of filtering potential. And I will show it to you right now. So for my last grade 1 slot, we are going to run 2 of the Halo of Bonds Soldier Bangle, which is the order card. Put a grade 2 lesser card in your soul, and then you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you put one of them from among them into your hand, and the rest to the bottom of your deck. So super good in terms of being able to look for all of the combo pieces that you need, as well as being able to quote-unquote stack your soul with cards that you draw into. The only problem I have with it is because, of course, it's an order card, I can't consistently use it. And at times it can be a dead card, depending on what I draw into. But nonetheless, it's still a very good card. And I would recommend giving it a try. But if not, you know, you could always run a 4th skull and possibly something in the grade 2 slot. I haven't completely tested it out yet, but as it stands right now, 2 Bangle works super well for me. Lastly, we're going to move on to the triggers. Very self-explanatory. So we are going to be running 4 heals, 4 and 4. 4 copies of the Sentinel critical trigger. Again, the object of this deck is to crit your opponent in the face, they never saw it coming, and swing in for like 6+ damage. And if they don't die to it, then leave them with no counterblast and try to do it again the next turn. You could probably take this out for draw triggers. I just don't see the need for it at the current moment. Then again, this format is very fast-paced, so a Perfect Guard might save you. But as it stands right now, at least the way I view it for this Genesis deck, if you're not winning by your Himiko swing, then regardless of the deck you're going against, there's a high chance that it's going to completely backfire. It's very glass cannon is what I'm trying to say. So might as well just go all out with the glass cannon factor. And then, of course, last card is our V starter. And yeah, that is the deck, guys. Overall, I would say the deck is actually a lot of fun. Is it competitive? I don't think so. Not to a super high extent. I definitely think it's very competitive. It is, like, competitively, quote-unquote, viable in terms of what it can actually do. It can definitely take people off by surprise because you'll flip up your Genesis starter and they'll be like, oh, okay, they're playing Astral Poets. I know how to go play against that. And then you slap down the Himiko with the Yggdrasil and they're like, okay, I wasn't ready for that. So it really depends, I guess, on your locals and maybe your matchups. But overall, I think it's a super fun deck, and it has a lot of potential, and there's still a plethora of potential to come, depending on what we get in the future. But with that, I will say that this isn't the only Genesis build I have been experimenting with. Next profile I have for you guys will be my Fenrir deck profile, so definitely stay tuned for that. But if you have any questions, of course, for this particular profile, please leave them in the comments down below. Thank you guys again for watching. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Deuces!